You know, with Konami being the producer, it's kind of fitting that the developer is named after a deadly toxin. This game can't even make it past the main menu without using the all the important information will be found in the middle of the book cliché. Let's see if we can get away with using the opening of a much better Castlevania game, but just break it into pieces and rob it of any context. People will appreciate that, I bet. If you're wondering why Gabriel Belmont is Dracula, then you obviously didn't cough up the money for the DLC that explains that. It's an interesting strategy Konami came up with to make you pay extra for important parts of the game's lore that's necessary for following the plot.
Steady, lads. We can take it.
You guys just charge in here pumped up to kill Dracula. Then you halt and start reassuring each other that you actually can. Have the pep talk before you break Dracula's door down with a battering ram. The amount of overexposed light shining through these curtains does not accurately reflect the moonlit scene on the other side.
What is a man? But a miserable pile of secrets.
That line doesn't even make sense in this context. In Symphony of the Night, Dracula is having a philosophical discussion with Richter Belmont about humanity and religion. Here he's just saying something that sounds cool because some soldiers are attacking his castle. This game can't be taking place that long after the last game, which was set during the 11th century. Yet these soldiers are attacking Dracula's castle with a steampunk colossus and a power armor wearing paladin.
You shall not pass!
Believe it or not, this is only one of the 2 times they use Gandalf's famous line in this game. Apparently, Dracula joined the Red Lantern Corps at some point. Latin rap battle. Did Goku just drop a spirit bomb or something? That was a good chunk of Eastern Europe that just got Old Testament smited. Dracula survives this. For those of you who didn't buy the DLC or play the handheld games, the narration explains how Gabriel turned into Dracula and why he has a son we didn't learn about in the previous game, and how that son became Alucard and had his own son named Simon. This is precisely why you don't include spin-off games in your main fiction. Looking at you, Kingdom Hearts.
He was now a vampire like his father. Though he swore that he would not be like him, he would take the name Alucard.
If I had a son who turned against me and reversed my name in mockery, he would be called Nagatrad. If Dracula has been asleep for centuries, who's been lighting these candles? So let me get this straight. Dracula woke up at the end of the last game during modern times, had a conversation with Zobek about Satan returning, was knocked out a window and onto the street, then despite being blood-starved, went back to sleep for a few more days, waking up even weaker, only to wander right back outside. Dracula gets from the top of his church to the bottom in the course of one camera pan, and he's weak from starvation right now and can barely walk. How would Dracula know what Trevor looked like as a kid? He never met him until Trevor was a grown man. Trevor leads Dracula down an alley where a monster nearly kills him. Thanks, Ghost Kid. What was the point of that? After being rescued from the monster by Zobek's lieutenant, Dracula wakes up locked in a room with a family of 3, which he proceeds to kill for their blood. This makes it pretty much impossible to ever sympathize with Dracula, especially later when he has father-son moments with Trevor. Cut to black to avoid showing violence against children cliché.
It pleases me to see you recovered, old friend.
Of all the games for Patrick Stewart to appear in, why Castlevania games? Do you think they had something on him?
The only weapon capable of ending your immortal life. But you see, you can have the eternal rest you crave after all.
Immortality is a curse cliché. It may not be an apple, but Zobek is still using that cigarette to look like as big an asshole as he can. That's what happens when that's your only defining character trait.
Since you sent Satan back to hell 1,000 years ago, his human offspring, or acolytes as they call themselves, have been dormant. The acolytes know you are weak and are preparing for their father's return.
Why did they wait 1,000 years then? Dracula has been gone for a while now. Couldn't they have done this sooner? Dracula finds the room where he killed the family of 3, except that the little girl's body is nowhere to be seen.
Did you know that this city is built upon the foundations of your castle?
That's not how cities are built, and this castle was nuked along with most of Europe. Also, if this city was built on top of his castle, how come no one ever excavated that cathedral in the middle of the city where he slept?
Satan has specifically chosen this place for his return. He means to enslave you first.
They don't know he's alive. The whole reason Satan wants to return now is because they all believe Dracula is dead.
This is the headquarters of a powerful pharmaceutical corporation. I suspect that one of the acolytes is operating from there.
Farmer Bro? Heather Bresch? Regardless of current pharmaceutical douchebags, the fact that Satan's daughter runs a pharmaceutical company is a bit weird, since to be a world-leading pharmaceutical company, you have to produce drugs that save people's lives. Even if you do, turn it towards evil later. These stealth sections can bite my ass. Easily the worst part of the game. How does it even make sense that these guards are more deadly than the final boss? For someone who's been asleep for 1,000 years, Dracula seems to understand modern technology without any explanation of it.
I sense the presence of a Golgoth god.
You just finished explaining that you couldn't look into this facility with your powers without being traced. Yet here you are pointing out guards and talking to Dracula. I get the feeling that Dracula's family is a metaphor for the writers not being able to choose a plot. Okay, the modern time period isn't working. Let's have Dracula go back to his castle from time to time and bond with his family.
They are synthesizing a substance, a gas. They plan to release it into the atmosphere to infect the people.
All you can see is a group of workers around a machine full of chemicals. That doesn't mean they're planning to release a poison cloud into the city. I mean, they are, but you couldn't really tell that just by looking. I see that you too got the memo that cigarettes have replaced apples as the dominant asshole character trait. There are better ways of finding out if a worker is possessed by Dracula than releasing gas into the factory, contaminating and mutating all the workers and yourself. I didn't edit anything out here. That's how the game handles the workers transforming. One second they are writhing on the ground, the next, a fully transformed mutant is attacking Dracula. Teleportation is always used to be a dick cliche.
I promise it'll be short and sweet.
Annoyingly punctuated for emphasis.
You've lost your chaos power. Now the Gorgons have it. You're going to need to get it back.
Well, he wouldn't need his chaos power to get past his door if you hadn't closed it on him. You were forcing him to go back to the castle to get a power he doesn't really need.
Beware of the jailers. They no longer serve their master.
Wait.
Medusa has apparently become a big fan of Japanese horror movies. She even causes static and glitch effects, even though she lives in a world without television.
With your permission, Majesty, I would like to reopen my humble shop here in the castle. For your own personal needs, of course.
He owns this place, and you serve him. Why even open a store for one customer? Suddenly I'm getting Bayonetta flashbacks.
We haven't got much merchandise. We've only just opened to the public.
There is no public for you to open to. Your shop is in a castle full of monsters.
The green cloud is expanding over the city, transforming both the living and the dead.
In other words, we wanted to create a Castlevania game set in a modern city, but didn't want to put in the effort to design an open world. So here's a few narrow streets filled with monsters.
Many people are now asleep at this time of night.
This is the game's actual explanation for why there are no civilians on the streets. I think a monster infestation would wake up a few at the very least.
Do you find me attractive?
6 out of 10. I have low standards.
This disease is manufactured, so they must have made an antidote as well.
Why would they do that? It's a demon-controlled pharmaceutical company that made a disease to help bring about Satan's return. I don't think they're going to get cold feet and want to cure everyone afterward. This is the military force of modern times. Bondage straps and World War I style gas masks with Tommy guns. And not to mention giant cod pieces. Dracula was just standing behind the train door a second ago. After the guard opens it to check, we can see that there were scientists sitting right behind the door where Dracula was standing, meaning they would have seen Dracula and could have just pointed the guard to the roof hatch. A random monster shows up just so there's an excuse for a running train fight sequence, and somehow this game makes even a train battle boring.
Zobek sent me. He feels you might need my help as you're still weak.
Then why didn't he send you with him after questioning the acolyte?
This train leads somewhere important.
How do you even know what a train is, or anything modern for that matter? You slept through the industrial era.
Zobek needs me. I have to go now.
I can see why Zobek thought Dracula would need your help. You helped him climb over one small wall and that was pretty much it. The same thing could have been accomplished with a rope and grappling hook. Carmilla is introduced boobs first. That's how you know she's a villain.
Do with me what you will.
You know from the last game that Carmilla is evil. In fact, she tried to seduce you back then too. So why fall for this? There's no reason to drink her blood.
Now I am inside of you.
Isn't that supposed to be the other way around? You know what? Whatever. Go with it.
Bitch!
Careful, you're risking a Polygon article with lines like that.
Are you real? Or just a dream too?
I am here.
Marie could have saved Dracula a lot of moping around had she appeared to him at any time before this. Like maybe back before he killed Trevor because he didn't know that Trevor was his son because she hid his birth.
Gabriel.
I am no longer Gabriel, woman. I am the dragon, Dracula. I am the Prince of Darkness. I am and will be forever a thorn in his side. That is my vengeance.
Punctuated for emphasis again.
Forever a thorn in his side.
For someone who claims to be an eternal thorn in the side of God, Dracula is spending a lot of time and effort to stop Satan.
But this suffering had to happen. And it will come to an end soon, my love.
By the end of this game, this is shown to be a lie, since he continues on doing what he's currently doing.
Remember, I am always with you.
Except not right now, because I did the annoying vanishing trick where you look away for 1 second and I disappear.
Thought I'd never see you again.
Well, you wouldn't have had to worry had you not vanished after he drank some of your blood a few minutes ago. You know that Carmilla's blood is poisoning him and only yours can halt it, so why run off? Carmilla tries to do the doppelganger trick to get Dracula to drink her blood instead of Marie's. But since Dracula bit Marie a few minutes ago, he should be able to tell who the real one is by looking for the bite mark. He bit Marie on the right side of her neck, while he bit Carmilla on the left. Yet neither of these two have bite marks.
In your dreams.
I get the feeling the devs are implying something with this. That's gonna be so many negative Polygon articles. Marie does her vanishing act again after Carmilla dies, even though just a second ago she was begging Dracula to save her. If you can vanish anytime you want, why was being locked up even an issue? Now that the game has successfully wasted an hour of your time to get Carmilla's missed power, it returns you back to what's supposed to be the real plot without any real development between Dracula and Marie. What were we doing before all of that? Oh yeah, getting a cure for the virus so we can question that devil lady. I'm not really sure why the Bradbury building from Blade Runner is in this game, but here it is.
The antidote.
I don't think you even know what modern medicine is. A scientist injecting someone shouldn't mean anything to you.
Shit have you injected me with, you insect?
The antidote your company made, and the antidote you heard them talking about injecting you with a while ago.
How fortunate that you should crawl out of your hiding place. So the dragon still lives. We thought you dead.
You've known that he's Dracula since you fought him. Why act like you're only realizing this for the first time?
My father takes this all very personal. As soon far out, you and your lackey have a date with hell.
Can you please stop punctuating every word like this? It's distracting. Dracula and Zobek survived this. You know the sin about boob rendering by now.
Using so much power will alert the other acolytes.
I actually think the building blowing up would be the thing that alerts them.
I will cast a spell of confusion around her.
If you've ever wondered why Patrick Stewart was never cast for a Harry Potter movie, that line reading should answer the question. Looks like the plot was progressing too fast. Time to slow it down again with another trip back to the castle to find pieces of the Mirror of Fate for Trevor. It's worth pointing out that I have no idea if Trevor and Marie are supposed to be real or imagined or echoes brought to life by the castle. There's a subplot about Dracula's blood turning against him for trying to leave the castle and it's trying to make him stay, but I'm not sure if this castle is even supposed to be real. And then there's the fact that Pan's brother shows up looking for revenge against Dracula for killing Pan in the previous game. So now I have to wonder if this is some sort of time travel or teleportation to a real place if this guy can wait around for 1,000 years for Dracula to show up.
I have waited for this moment for a long time.
Everyone was supposed to believe Dracula was dead. How did you know he was still alive and to wait around in his castle for 1,000 years for him to come looking for this mirror shard? Did I mention how much the stealth sections can bite me?
You shall not pass.
Told you they used it more than once.
Can you find all the missing pieces for me, Father?
This is the point where everyone who played this game really started to hate Trevor. The Toy Maker's puppet show and the boss battle that comes after it are easily the best part of this game. If you're wondering why I'm not removing a sin despite liking this scene, it's because it only makes me wonder why they couldn't have shown this level of creativity throughout the rest of the game. You just put the Toy Maker's heart into his stomach. This is not Dracula's first time seeing his blood possess someone and turn them against him. Logically, he should try to help the person escape before the blood takes them. Metal Gear. Hold on just a second. Smoking cigarettes is the only character trait I have. Let me enjoy this. Despite living in modern times, the Belmonts still dress like it's the Dark Ages. Is this actually happening? Am I really watching Dracula ride a propane tank into a rocket to get away from weak enemies he could easily kill? This power would have been handy to use back when you were running away from the giant monster that was chasing you. I remember those demon boobs from the last game. They're still 5 years behind Metro Last Light. Earlier, you murdered a little girl. Now the sound of a baby crying makes you show mercy. Victor Belmont starts getting along pretty well with his clan's arch nemesis after just one fight.
We're hiding people here who haven't already been infected. I don't know how much longer we can hang on.
Take it. It's an antidote to the infection.
You only had one of those, and you used it on Satan's daughter already. Plus, I don't think they have the means of duplicating an antidote down here.
You're looking for the acolytes, are you not?
You know where they are?
Not exactly. But I do know how we could flush them out.
It involves me killing myself, but despite me knowing that, I don't hand off that vial of antidote to someone down here who can actually cure the infection. I keep it with me until I die. So the plan is for Victor to call out the acolytes so they'll come and kill him, revealing where the acolyte currently is, which just so happens to be in the very building right across from where Victor dies. And what's more, Victor making this sacrifice is out of nowhere. He just tried to kill Dracula and has no reason to kill himself to help him. That piece of the mirror he just handed you is in no way big enough to fill in the hole in the mirror. Also, even though Trevor just put the mirror together, Dracula will still have to reassemble it every time he wants to use it.
Who the hell are you?
I am the blood that runs through your veins. I am the dark shadow that chills the hearts of men as you pass. I am your destiny!
I am the source of your shitty acting. I am the cause of your overuse of punctuation. I speak for everyone who's ever played this game. Even the game fact for this game said this part was crap. When I say, fuck this part in particular. The next acolyte is the head of the largest weapons manufacturer in the world, who is headquartered in a clock tower. Seems about right. And now, young Belmont, you will die. Dracula leads the acolyte down a hallway right next to his office that has apparently been turned into a portal to Dracula's castle. The acolyte would be using this hallway every day, so you would think you would have noticed something was off and stopped following him through it and just zapped Dracula to death. Let's just say that this boss fight is a really shitty version of Ornstein and Smough.
He's more powerful than the others. and appears to fear nothing.
No, he really isn't. He doesn't even get a boss fight. The third acolyte is really easy to find compared to the other two. The game just comes right out and tells you. I think the game even wants this to be over with. Before Dracula can stop the acolyte, the lieutenant puts his hand on his shoulder to stop him so they can make Dracula replay the prologue of the game and explain what happened after that giant explosion. All of the important information will be in the middle of the book cliché. Who even wrote this thing? It contains information about what happened after Dracula was put to sleep and about the plans Dracula made with Alucard to stop Satan for good. Not the kind of information you would want lying around. Since Alucard is Trevor, and both Trevor and Alucard have been helping Dracula during all of this, are they one and the same or two separate people at this point? The game isn't really clear on that. Can we stop this trend in games where two characters will walk in a circle to make the scene look more dynamic? Just figure out how to use a camera, or set it in a compelling location. Alucard's plan is to put Dracula to sleep for centuries so that Satan will believe he is dead and return so they can kill him once and for all. And Alucard knows that putting Dracula to sleep for so long will erase his memories of this moment so that Zobek can't read his mind when he wakes up. And he knows that Zobek would offer to kill Dracula with a vampire killer he rebuilt to get him to go along with his plan, which they also need to kill Satan. Alucard planned this out 1,000 years in advance.
You're asking me to free the world from Satan again? To sacrifice everything for humanity again?
I'm asking you to stop punctuating your lines. Again.
When will I meet you again?
When I put my hand on your shoulder.
You planned that out too? If one of the big worries of this plan was Zobek reading Dracula's mind, how come he couldn't read Alucard's mind? Alucard never lost his memories, and I would have to assume that at some point during the time he was working for Zobek that he would have seen him without the helmet. If Zobek is so omnipotent that he could see what Dracula and Alucard were up to, then he should have figured something was up a while ago. He knew that Dracula kept vanishing from his vision every time he went back to his castle, and would have seen him talking to Trevor a few times in the modern world.
May you and your spawn be damned forever!
That ranks high enough on my totally badass level to take a sin off. Congratulations, game. You managed it once. Well, there goes the one compelling reason to even play this game. Rather than just tell you where to go for the finale, the game expects you to wander around and find it, only telling you to return to Dracula's church after around 20 minutes of fruitless searching. Why did it take 1,000 years to summon Satan if all it took was one dude reciting a prayer? Judging by the insane gains he's made, Satan has apparently been hitting the gym since the last game.
I despise incompetence.
But he wasn't incompetent. Your acolyte summoned you back to Earth in the exact location you demanded.
We could share this world. You and I.
You tried this exact line in the last game and it didn't work then.
I desire to destroy this world.
I thought your desire was to rule over heaven. That's what you wanted to do in the previous game. And not to mention, you just offered to rule this world alongside Dracula. The Book of Revelations really missed how the end of days would play out. It isn't the four horsemen of the apocalypse riding around, but Satan riding a giant worm into space so we can fire a laser at the earth and blow it up. No. Dracula has to fight Satan after he possesses Alucard on the remains of the Leviathan as it falls back to Earth. Someone really should have explained to the devs that they weren't making a Bayonetta game.
I like this body.
Not as swole as my other one, but at least this one gets tons of fan art drawn of it by desperate horny fangirls on Tumblr. This is just like the ending of the fight in Matrix Revolutions. It wasn't good there either, you know. Goofiest ass slow motion scene ever. Satan falls for this. This seems more annoying than helpful.
What happens now?
Who knows what fate has in store?
No sequel baiting here. It's all pachinko machines from here on out for this series.
Oh, fuck, oh, no.